At 11 o'clock, we got Miami, Ohio, traveling to Minnesota. They both started out the season 0-1, but those were very different losses. Miami, Ohio had a 14-49 loss to Cincinnati. They trailed 35-0 at halftime, and the fact they scored 14 points was a goddamn miracle. It was amazing. A.J. Mayer, their starting quarterback, did not have the best day at all. He went 9 of 28, which is a 32.1% completion percentage. He threw for 109 yards, which, to be fair, on 9 completions is pretty solid, but honestly, not good. Keon Mosey had 15 carries for 80 yards on the ground. And Matt Hippenhammer, which is a name that I remembered as a Penn State fan. And I went back, I'm like, oh yeah, he's a Penn State wide receiver. He's, I guess, transferred to Miami, Ohio. And he was the leading receiver on the team, which, I mean, good for Hippenhammer. He ended up having 3 receptions for 64 yards. Now you go to Minnesota. They also did not have. They felt very disappointed after the opening week, but also give you a decent amount of hope if you're Minnesota fans. They ended up having 45-31 loss to Ohio State. But on the other hand, you were leading at halftime against Ohio State. You gave Ohio State a game. Now we'll get to the sad part in a little bit. Tanner Morgan went 14-25, threw for 205 yards and a touchdown. This is the sad part. Mohamed Ibrahim, the guy that you expected to be the number 1 running back for this team and the focal point of this offense if you want to make the playoffs, and even if you didn't, if you just wanted to make a very good bowl game, this was the guy. This is the running back that I thought was going to go in top 3 rounds of the draft if he could have a good year. Mohamed Ibrahim did not. He had a very good day. He had 30 carries, 163 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Problem is, he had a lower leg injury, and he's out for the entire season, which means suddenly you got to turn your attention to Trayvon Potts. Trayvon Potts did not have the best day. He only had 10 carries for 34 yards. Problem is, Trayvon Potts is a very different running back than Mohamed Ibrahim. Mohamed Ibrahim, my best example of him in the NFL is obviously Derrick Henry. He is absolutely... obviously, he's not Derrick Henry. I don't mean to say that, but Mohamed Ibrahim is kind of a similar player to Derrick Henry. He's a downhill runner. The fact is, he's going to run through you. That's the kind of guy he is. He is not a guy that is taken down easily. Trayvon Potts is a very shifty player, but he's not a player that you can just run straight up the middle and expect to get 5-6 yards every time, which you could with Mohamed Ibrahim. The fact is, Trayvon Potts is a guy you got to use. You have to figure out how to use him because he is a shifty player, and that's fun in college. But the fact is, you can't run him straight up the middle, and you got to figure something out for Minnesota. You got to completely change your offense and got to focus a lot more on Tanner Morgan. Daniel Jackson ended up leading the team in receptions, only 3 catches for 58 yards. So Minnesota leads the series 4-0 all time. They won 26-3 last time they played, September 15th, 2018. It's almost 3 years ago at this point. But this is a Red Hawks team that performed very poorly against Cincinnati. I have a hard time believing they'll perform much better against Minnesota. Now, let's be honest, Cincinnati's probably a better team than Minnesota. But the fact is, I think this is just a Minnesota team that is pretty solid this year, and I don't think you can just underrate them like that. So give me, obviously, Minnesota to win and cover this 18.5 point spread.